Is it recording? Wow! It's our lucky day. Okay, so today, let's take a look at this. 429. We want to talk about arithmetic and arithmetic is sequences and series. Okay, so a lot of fancy words. Arithmetic means that you add to make the next term. Okay, arithmetic means you're going to add to make next term. And a series just means to add them up. Add them up. Okay? So the arithmetic sequence is the same thing. We're going to just add the same to each term. Okay, and I'll slow down and let you guys catch up, okay? So arithmetic means we're going to add like plus 3, or plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, or minus 2 to minus 2 to minus 2, right? But we're not multiplying, okay? It's not special squares. It's just adding the same thing each time, okay? So then a series, and we'll talk about that in the back, is just to add them all up. But in this example, and for instance, example number 1, what we're adding each time is 5. You guys see that? So we're not going to call it the adder. Sometimes I will say the word adder, even though adder is not a word. I know that. I have a college education. Adder is not a word, but it works really appropriately. So our adder, we use the symbol D for our adder, and our adder in this case is 5, okay? They use the word difference. So the difference between each of these terms is 5, okay? So the adder is 5. I know if your parents watch this, they're going to say, what is that guy? Does he have a college education? Yes, I do. So we have this really nice formula that helps us out, okay? So I'm going to highlight this formula. Okay. And this is to find any term, okay? So A of n is the last term, or the last term you want to make, or it's part of the formula. A1 is always your first term. So A1 is your first term. N is the number of terms. N is the number of terms, okay? N is the number of terms. And D is the difference. Or our adder. I know, so such a word as an adder. So if I take a look at example 1, right? So one of the advantages of having a formula is if I want the 20th term, if I can get a formula, then finding the 20th term is much faster. If you don't make a formula, you got to just go plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5. And you can do it that way. If you want to just keep adding all the way until you get the 20th term, it'll work. It's kind of a pain. So what's more convenient is to use our formula, okay? So we want to find a formula. So we're going to say, so if I need a formula, you need variables. Keep n as a variable. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, okay? So if you need a formula, anytime you need a formula, you need a variable. So for us, if we need a formula, we're going to keep n as our variable. So we're going to say, okay, A of n equals, because we need a formula, okay? And I'm going to use this formula here, okay? And I'll write it down. We need A1 plus n minus 1 times D. But let's put in what we know. We know the first term, right? We know A1 is 3, so put 3 right there. We know the difference is 5, so put 5 right there. And if I need a formula, keep n as a variable. Okay, so how am I doing? Am I slow down for a second? We need a formula. We're given a formula here, but we need to put in the numbers that we know that make this sequence, okay? So we had a formula here. We need to put in the numbers for this sequence that work. Okay, so I'm going to go a of n equals 3, because that's my first term, plus n minus 1 times 5. Okay, now that formula is correct. I might simplify it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to simplify it a little bit. So I'll go a of n equals 3 plus a 5n minus 5, because I just distributed, right? That times that. And then I might just make it a of n equals a 5n minus 2, okay? So there's our formula. That'll work for this sequence. If I plug in 1, I get 3. If I plug in 2, I get 8. If I plug in 3, I get 13. If I plug in 4, 5 times 4 is 20 minus 2 is 18. So this formula works for this particular sequence. Now the cool part is if we want the 20th term, okay, so if I want a of 20 for my 20th term, I'm going to go a of 20, because that's my 20th term, is equal to, well, 5 times 20 minus 2, which is 100 minus 2, which is 100, which is 98. There we go. A lot faster than going through and making the whole thing, right? And you could, and I've seen kids do it. I've seen kids that just refuse to take notes and not write things down, and we get to the test, I'm like, bummer. And they have done the whole thing. It takes them maybe 2 hours to take my test, but they can get it done, right? But the formulas are much better, okay? Okay, now, example 2. Example 2 is a little bit more difficult, but we can do it, okay? So what I would do is this. I know it's arithmetic. So since I know it's arithmetic, I'm going to use our formula. Use our a of n, a1 plus n minus 1 times d, okay? The problem is I don't know enough. I know the 7th term and I know the 26th term, but I don't know the first term, and I don't know d, okay? So what I would do is this. If a7 is 17. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this, okay? Right? And then A26 is 93, okay? So think about this. A1 is all the way over here. Does that make sense? I'm so understanding. Okay, if A1's all the way over here, let's shift over. Let's, for right now, call this one A1. So we call this one A1. Then we had to move up 6 to get to it, right? So then, let's call this one A20. I'm not sure what it is, so I'm just going to move, because the sequence is the same all the way through, right? So let's just start here and call this the first term, okay? So let's call that A1 for right now. For right now, we're just going to call this A1. So let's call 17 A1, right? So this one moved back in a sense 6. So then this would be A20 would be 93, okay? So I'm just moving forward, okay? Okay? So then let's use our formula, okay? So what I want to do with our formula is let's find the value of D first. And we can get the value of D. So I'm going to use my formula by calling this one. So A20 is going to be my last term. So I'm going to go 93 equals A1, which is called 17, plus, well, how many terms would I have? I have 20 terms, right? I have 20 terms. And then I can find the difference. So I'm going to use my formula to get the value of D, okay? So then, all right, I had 93, let's see, minus 17, minus 17. What is 93 minus 17? And I get an answer of 76 equals 19D divided by 19. 76 divided by 19 is 4. Okay, now what we could do is, and a lot of kids do this, we could, actually in this case, we could just count back, or we could use our formula to get A1. It's up to you. If you want to use a formula to get A1, plug it in and get A1, or do you want to just go back 4, back 4, back 4, back 4? See what I'm saying? If I know the difference is 4, I can move it back 6 times and come up with my first term. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Does that make sense? Okay. So if I know that A7 is 17, then A6, A5, A4, A3, A2, A1. Let's find out. So 17 minus 4, right? Because I'm going back 4. 13 minus 4 makes 9. Minus 4 makes 5. Minus 4 makes 1. Minus 4 makes negative 3. Minus 4 makes negative 7. Okay, so here's what I have. Let me circle what I have so we know it, okay? I know the first term, right? I know the difference, right? I can make a formula. So I can make a formula for this. I can say, okay, my formula should be A of n equals A1. A1 is negative 7 plus n minus 1, and the difference is 4. I could simplify this if I wanted to. Let's see, what's that going to be? A negative 7 plus a 4n minus 4. An equals 4n minus 11. There we go. I just simplified it. Okay. That was a little bit hard of a problem. So the problem I had was on this problem, I'll go one more time, is originally I had to go all the way up to 7 and bring it back. Okay. Arithmetic series. Okay, series, the word series means to add them all up in the end. So get a sum. So add all terms to have a sum. Okay? Now, we've got a formula, and I showed that to you. It's really nice because we don't want to add them all up. That's what we did yesterday, right? We added them. What a pain, right? But if it's arithmetic, we have a formula which adds them up for us. Boom, done, right? So let's see how this works, okay? N is the number of terms. A1 is the first term. A of n is your last term. They say A of n because maybe it's 50 terms. You go A of 50, maybe you have 30 terms. In this case, you got 30 terms, so A of 30 would be our last term, right? And so forth and so on. So this, if I look at example 3, I'm going to go 5. I'm not going to do this for real. I'm just going to show you. I go 5 plus 8. Don't really do this. Plus 11. Plus 14. Plus 17. Plus, I got to go all the way to 30. Are you kidding me? Yes, you can do it that way. What a pain. So, if we have a formula, let's just let the formula do it. So we know, I know n is the number of terms is 30. Okay? There's n. And I want to put 30 right there in my formula. A1 is my first term. I know that. That's 5, okay? What I don't know is the last term, A of 30. But that's no big deal because I have a formula to help me find the 30th term, right? So if I need the 30th term, let's use, for the 30th term, so to find A30, let's use this formula. A1 plus n minus 1 times d, and that's the formula in the front to find any term, okay? So, to find the 30th term, A30 is equal to A1, which is 5. Now, there'd be 30 terms, right? N minus 1, n is the number of terms, there'd be 30 terms. And the difference is 3, right? Goes up by 3, up by 3. So, this should get my 30th term, and then I can figure out what the sum is, okay? So if I go 5 plus 30 subtract 1 times 3, I get an answer of 147. Oh, no, I don't. I don't, because I had the other stuff, thank you. Oh, man. I was like, something's not right there. Times 3. How about 92? There you go. So A of 30 is 92. So then my formula says S of 30, because that S stands for the sum. So I'm using this formula here, okay? S of 30 is equal to n, which is the number of terms, which is 30, times A1, we know the first term is 5, plus the last term, we know the last term is 92 because we found it. We found the last term, divided by 2. I'm just going to use my calculator. I'm going to go 30, parentheses, 5 plus 92, divided by 2, and I get an answer of 1,455. Much faster than making every term and adding them up, right? Okay, last problem. Okay. So, because it's got the summation, it does mean sum, or we're going to add all terms, right? Because of this symbol here, it means sum. Okay? So I want to use my formula. I want to use my S of n equals my n times A1 plus AN divided by 2, okay? I like this problem because it's really easy. It's really easy. So real quickly, n is the number of terms. So looking at this problem, how many terms will there be? Come on, you guys, how many terms will there be? 27, right? We're going to plug in 1, 2, 3, we're going to plug it. So there will be 27 terms. Good. So n has to equal 27, agree. A1 is the first term. Well, we know how to make the first term. Don't you know how to make the first term? A1 is going to be, well, plug it in. 3 times 1 plus 6. So A1 is 9, right? A of n would be the last term. So how do we make the last term? How do we make the last term? Yeah, Ellie? Plug in 27, right? You guys agree? 27 would be the last term. So A of 27 is the last term, which is 3 times 27 plus 6. Now, I don't know. That's what calculators made for, right? 3 times 27 plus 6. 87. Okay, so let's use our formula. S of 27. I saw S of 27 because it's like the question saying what's the sum of the first 27 terms, right? Which is equal to n, which is the number of terms, which is 27, times A1, which is the first term, which is 9, plus A of n, which is the last term, which is 87, divided by 2. Just use my calculator. 27 times 9 plus 87 divided by 2. And I get a grand sum of 1,296. Okay, that's all I have. Homework is up there, page 203, 1 through 11, all, and the extra is 12. And I'll help you with it as soon as I get done recording. Okay, awesome.